Now, well, hello everybody. Welcome to our new episode of our show, Tawheed, Spiritual Unity of the Three Principles. And today is a really special episode as we have three guests for the first time in our show. And the three guests are Omar Wilson, Derrick Mason, and Chris Mavinga. I hope this is correct. So today we're going to speak about Free Inside Out. As our guests, Derrick, Chris, and Omar all came into contact with the three principles when they were in prison through beyond recovery, all at different stages of their lives, all with different stories to tell as to why they had ended up where they were. Yet through insight, they were able to see their own individual paths to freedom. And not a freedom only to be enjoyed upon release, but a freedom that came from inside, no matter the circumstances. And that has led them to share their stories of change from within. And all of them still continue working alongside Beyond Recovery, run by the amazing Jacqueline Hollows, who is with us today. So good to have you all here.
Excuse me.
So,
amazing.
I just love how Harry just starts with laughing as soon as I press recorded. Would you like to say something, Harry, before we give it to the guys so they could share their stories? This is an open conversation, and it's like everyone is free to ask any questions. But before that, we will give Omar, Chris, and Derrick 10 or 15 minutes each to share their stories and their insights from where they were incarcerated and how this freed them before they were, outside prison. So go on, Harry.
I just wanted to share a couple little points. The first movement was Salt Spring, as everybody knows, but when Sid wrote his first book called Second Chance, it imprinted the prisons in the United States the most. And I said to him, I never saw this book as a book that would help people in prison.
Sorry.
And he said very clearly, neither did I. But that's the first place that outside in that it really took off, and then amazing things started to happen in the prisons, and then later Jacqueline started that in the UK, and I get her story was very similar. She, as far as I know, she had no background in this area, no this, and she was like Sid. Sid said very clearly in his unpublished biography, he said very clearly, I didn't go to psychology, psychology found me. And I feel very strongly that this spiritual event where Jacqueline heard something, and then the spirit took her into this area to help people, beautiful people who needed an opportunity, the same opportunity we all need to get rid of some of that goddamn suffering that we have in our lives. So I want to really commend them. And also as I mentioned to Jacqueline, I really enjoyed their contribution to the addiction conference, 3P Addiction. They brought something to it. They're on the street, guys. They're on the grass level. They're a Gandhis sharing their beauty and their wisdom in a way only they can share it. So that's my little preamble. Looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say.
Oh boy, Harry, what an introduction. Beautiful. Yeah, no, that was beautiful. That was beautiful, Harry. I love that, man. I love that. And it always has to go back to the spirit of Mama J, what she brought in. Jacqueline, she came into a place what is not usually thought where you find gems, but she found some. And for my story, started, like I said, when I got arrested, got sentenced to 5 years in prison, was in Only about a year into my sentence, and I bumped into Beyond Recovery. Not bumped in, some guy was going on at me in the shower, on the stairs, everywhere I saw him, he was just pestering me, telling me about this thing, and I succumbed. I said, yeah, I'll do it. And then he followed it up, and then I got my name put down on the course. And I thought, I'm going on this course to get my DCAT, which means I'm moving to, I can get open facilities where I'll get a bit more freedom. But instead, I managed to go on this course and I managed to find myself. I managed to find myself, and not a myself that I had, opinion that I had of myself, because when everything fell away, the opinion that I realized I had of myself was pretty low. It was just one of a criminal, one outside of society, not to be accepted, just to stay on the outside. And then when I make enough money, jump on the inside with businesses and whatever, some sort of fantasy land. But that was my outlook. So when I found Beyond Recovery and I looked into myself, when I first saw all that. I saw all ugliness, but something said, stay curious. And I kept on plugging away, asking myself, who am I? What do I see? And then one moment I remember glimpsing that I saw the real me, and I saw the innocence in everything that I'd ever done. And I got a glimpse of the real me, and it was beautiful. And it wasn't all the labels that I had probably attached to it and all the labels that I thought everybody else has attached to me. I am the person that I can be in this moment. And no matter what I've done or what I've thought in the past doesn't make me me now. What makes me me now is how I think now, because that is the only moment that matters, is right now. And as me as somebody who used to worry and stress and have to put labels on things and everything had to look a certain way moving forward, and for me to have an insight and for all of that to fall away, and when I really kind of study and look into it, I see it's the rule book. I was brought up with a rule book of things I had to do, things I had to conform to, beliefs I had to buy into, and none of these entries in this rule book were really put there by me. I was just sort of handed this rule book. It's a cultural handbook. There you go, son. If you're in, read this rule book and stick to the rules. But when I was inside and I got this understanding, and I realized all of them things in the rule books were all made up. I didn't have to do any of them things. I didn't have to be a criminal. I didn't have to walk around acting like I was tough or making people think I was tough and indestructible. I didn't have to walk around and make people think that I wasn't vulnerable, or I wasn't depressed, or I didn't suffer from anxiety. But these are all things that I told myself that are not meant to be discussed. So when I've had my moment, I sort of saw it as a freedom, because I freed myself from the rule book. The rule book no longer applied to me, and anything I wanted to do was okay. And even if that meant, I'm going to carry on being a criminal, if that's the choice I would have made, it would have been okay. But I didn't have to do it. And just that feeling of not having to do it was one of the biggest things in my rule book that liberated me from that thinking. To say, I don't have to do that. I'm okay to come out and have a 9 to 5. My world's not going to crumble around me if that happens to me. So in feeling that freedom,
We've lost you, Derrick.
Conform to the rule. There weren't no new rules. Oh shit! Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you again.
How far?
We lost you for a bit.
Just a little bit, Derrick.
Just like 5 seconds.
Okay. I thought I didn't have to conform to that rule book anymore, and there weren't no rules that replaced the rule book. The rule book was empty, and whatever I wanted to do is what. And there was a freedom that came with that. A freedom, and it evolved into a freedom to even feel down, a freedom to feel upset and not feel I had to do something or act on it. And just that freedom alone, at one point I was there and I said, I feel more free now than I've ever felt before when I've been outside on a beach, on doing this or doing that. It hasn't felt the same. I feel freer now. And it's a freedom from in here that I released from my thinking of what I thought I had to do and what I thought I had to be. I can be basically whoever I want to be. And following that feeling and that spirit, what Harry said, has led my life to change totally upside down 360. So I didn't think, I wasn't looking for this change when I found it, but when the truth spoke to me, then it told me what needed to be done. And so far I've been trying to walk that path, and I've been enjoying that journey ever since. And it's thanks to Mama J, Beyond Recovery team, that allowed me to look into myself, because I had previously always looked outside of myself and blamed people outside, and it's all their fault. But I had to take responsibility. And when I took responsibility, full responsibility, then I saw that my innocence, and I saw my innocence in everybody else. And that's what liberated me as well, from seeing people as what they color, height, weight. No, we're all one. We're all the same thing. We open our mouth and words come out, and we feel the same feeling. We all have that feeling of love inside us. We were born to love. We were born to receive love. And that is what I see in people now. And I've got a freedom to say I love people. Before, that was one in the rule book, number 3, do not disclose your love for anybody other than your mother and your children. Yeah. No, I love you all. I love you. I got love for all of you. Yeah. And that is something what I feel free when I say that. So I don't know if Omar or Chris want to come in, because we've got 10, 15 minutes, you said. So I'll just try to say that. And then if anyone wants to ask a question afterwards, I'm sure we'll just, or whatever nature, however it flows, we're just here.
Yeah, hello everyone. Before this understanding, I lived a very fast life. I gave the system 18 years of my life. Ooh. And before that, I thought what I was doing at the time was the norm, but at the time I wasn't being seen, and I don't feel like I was being heard. And at the same time, I was alone. And for me, that's not a nice feeling, just feeling alone. But with this understanding, and with the thanks of Mama J, and this time here, I actually saw something different. Like Derrick said, there's a rule book, and one of them rule books there is like, you have to wear a mask when you're around a situation. And for a very long time, I was wearing a mask. Not until I took off that mask, or someone actually said, you know what, I love you for you, or I can see you for you. That threw me off and literally impacted me, because I felt like, right, actually, I'm something, I am worthy. But before this, I didn't have that understanding. And like, to feel love in a dark place, I didn't think I could find it, but it helped me out. I don't live a fast life no more. I actually take my time. And for a very long time, I felt I was listening. I'm 34, and not until I actually got this understanding where I actually can sit with my feelings and not do anything about it, and just sit with it and listen to myself instead of listening to peers, listening to society, listen to whatever. Just listening to yourself, like, just be present. And it helped me to be present. From time you're listening, you're present. And that fast life didn't do me no good. Didn't do me no good, but it did me a good, because I met the whole team, and thank you very much, Mama J. Just told me to look within inside myself instead of looking outside, because everything you need is within you, literally within you. Like, it runs through our veins. That hope, it runs through your vein. If you just take your time and be present with yourself, you got hope, you got love, you got compassion. And I actually got to learn how to have compassion, because my time in prison took the ones that actually really did love and really did care for hurting and suffering. But I didn't see that until I actually slowed down and not be in my head, and not be in my thoughts. And I think that was the most, it was a mental and a physical, and it actually was in prison. I was in two sort of prison. I was in prison in my mind, and I was actually physically in prison until someone actually said, no, you can actually unlock that key of yours and be what you want. Like Derrick said, be what you want. Literally be what you want. And it's okay. It's okay. It's actually okay to be you, whatever you want. It's okay to be different. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So even having the simplicity, enjoying the simplicity, like hearing the birds just, just twerk. And before this, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed that. And I actually find.
Oh, your sound's off, Christopher.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Good, good.
Okay. Even when like I'm having it was even inside. When I was having a rough day or a bad day, because I was a gardener this time, I could actually find peace in just being around flowers. I could actually find that peace, even though there's a lot of craziness going on, but once I go into my garden space and be around flowers, it just brought a little smile to me. And before that, I was just going to the gardens. It's the same thing how I met Mother J. Like I went to be on recovery for the wrong reason, but I came out with the right reasons. The right reasons to be here, the right reasons to actually share my journeys with you. And I'm not embarrassed about it and not feel a way about it and just share. Because I'm not alone, and we don't go through the things we go through alone. And sometimes we keep it inside, and the more and more we keep things inside, the more and more we hurt ourselves, I believe. So if I can say something and help someone and not go through what I went through, it's a win-win situation. Literally. Yeah.
I love that, Chris. Two disclaimers. One, it's my nephew's birthday today, so it might be a bit loud in my background. Two, I'm going to use a lot of metaphors, so try to keep up. So I've got some characters, right? And the first one is the gatekeeper. And my first encounter with the gatekeeper, I was like 8, 9. And I was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia. And the gatekeeper says, these things mean you can't read, you're hyperactive, you are this and you are that. So I said, all right, gatekeeper, that's what we are. Cool. So I continued to be that nuisance, and my father weren't around. My mum worked 2 jobs, so she was struggling, and me and the gatekeeper decided that we need to be the man in the house. The gatekeeper saying you need to be a man. You need to help you need to make money. You need to help your household. So I went to do that. And I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to make money, or I didn't know how to support a family. I was like 12, 13. And I had a friend, a good friend. He looked out for me. Really good guy. He was 2 years older than me. Really good guy. Looked out for me. Really good guy. And he was killed. But he was a good guy. And me and the gatekeeper, we couldn't do nothing about this situation. The gatekeeper told me, what's the point of being good? What is the point of trying to be good? So that kind of freed me to look at any other means to make money, which I was out in the local area, and what everybody was doing was selling drugs. Some robberies here and there, but there was mainly selling drugs. And I thought, if they could do it, I could do it. And the gatekeeper said, yeah, that's right. If they can do it, you can do it. And I did that for about 10 years. 10 years. And the feeling was horrible. I didn't like it. But the gatekeeper told me I wasn't allowed to feel like that. So I kind of hid those feelings. After those long 10 years, maybe 11, I was sent to prison under a big operation. Where the gatekeeper, he said, you have to be macho. No one's going to mess with you. You have to be like this. Everybody has to see you're like this. And everybody has to know you're like this. So I said, all right, gatekeeper, that's how we're going to be. And then I met this lady, right? She was glowing. And I think she had wings, I don't know. But she came in these dungeons, right? And it's a dungeon in there. And anything she touched kind of just levitated. So I was in this room. I had the gatekeeper right by my side. He was ready. Oh, was he ready? And the wizard just touched him. One touch. Sorry if it's getting a bit loud. And sorry, the wizard just touched the gatekeeper. And within this moment, and it was like let's call it a 2-week process. Within this 2-week process, this little wizard sat down with me and helped me change the clothes of this gatekeeper. So we changed his big sword and his big jackets, and we changed all of that. And we gave him a new job title. We called him the Keymaker. I was like, all right, yeah, I can call him the Keymaker. She was like, of course you can call him the Keymaker. I said, I'm gonna call him the Keymaker now. And after that day, there was rules to the Keymaker that I had to discover. Because I thought, this new Keymaker in my life, he'll make any key I want him to make. If I tell him make the key, he'll make it. Just like the gatekeeper, if I tell him something, he'll give me an answer. But that's not the case with the Keymaker. The Keymaker doesn't like to be bothered. But he has a promise that if he doesn't like to be bothered, whatever key you want, he'll make it for you. As long as you leave him to it. So if you didn't guess that, the Keymaker is my mind. And now I'm able to navigate through any situation because I know my Keymaker is going to make a key for it as long as I don't bother him. So whatever happens, I kind of don't really react to it too much anymore. Or when I do, I know that the Keymaker's got something for that. So instead of worrying about what's going to happen next or and that was always my issue in life. What's going to happen this? I need to do that for this. And I trust in the Keymaker now, and I know he's got a key for it. So I can live my life moment to moment, enjoying the present. And that's all because of this wizard that came into the dungeons. And her name is Jacqueline, which we now call Mama J. And that's my story.
So would someone like to share, by the way, beautiful feelings, guys, beautiful feelings. But if someone would like to ask a question or share something or add, whatever. I have a question. When I went into this prison, I was the indigenous group, and the outstanding feeling that I felt from going into this group was this was the only place they felt safe. And the feeling I have when you're talking about Mama G, if I pronounce that correct, is this feeling, like the first feeling.
Mama J, Mama J.
J.
Not G. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, Mama J.
Mama J, like Jordan, eh? Okay. Michael. Okay. But this safe feeling. And that's when you, all three of you are talking about, that's the first feeling I notice that you have the same thing as this indigenous had when they walked into this beautiful place of love in their own way, and they felt safe. It didn't have quite the wisdom that Mama J perhaps shared, but it did have the spirit. It did have the spirit. Could you talk a little bit about what it felt like to feel safe for what I would call for the first time, or for one of the few times?
You know what, Harry? Yeah, you're right. It would be for the first time. In an environment like that, when you're going into groups or you're going into a lesson or you're working, there's no real safe. You have to wear that mask, what Chris was talking about. And if you don't wear that mask, then you're going to be perceived to have been judged and looked at certain ways, or might get victimized, or might get. But when I went into Mama J's classes, there was none of that. It was just love. And again, love is a word you don't mention in them places, because that's something is a no-no. But to be able to go into a room and everyone be able to take off their masks, and for me, that started with the facilitators. When the facilitators show up with no mask, facilitators are showing up saying, yeah, I'm flawed in certain aspects, but you know what? I know that I'm going to be all right. I'm just going to move through. I think the facilitator that came in on our group said that she was depressed for 18 months. She'd spent a year bedridden, thinking about worried about her mortgage. And you don't just come into a group and start sharing that sort of stuff. But when she'd done it, it kind of dropped us to know, okay, it's a kind of safe space where you can share that. And something else Christopher alluded to was when the facilitators looked at us, they looked at us and they saw something more than just a number and a prisoner. They saw a human being. And there's something that comes through with that when you speak to somebody as a human being and speak to somebody with love. There's something that comes through deeper than the words that you feel. And that's what kept me going back to that space, because I knew there was something in it for me. Like I said, I didn't go there looking for that, but I went there looking at easier life, trying to get a DCAT, but I ended up finding a better life in general. So yeah, that was key, the safe space and that love, and learning from that as well, that that love weren't so vulnerable, because you felt strong when you was in that room, and we was all in that same space. We were strong. We felt vulnerable, sort of like when we would come out of the room, and then you had to put that mask back on, and that mask doesn't feel as comfortable as once you've taken it off properly. It doesn't feel as comfortable when you put it back on again. So yeah, just that feeling in the room, Harry, is a good thing. That's a good thing. What pointed us to know there's something in it. If you can go in the room and feel love just from the same people you've been seeing on the wing, and feel the love for them, then there's possibility to feel the love for everybody. And yeah, that's how I can explain
Uh, it's a bit crazy for me because it wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time I felt like that. It was actually a familiar feeling that I haven't felt in a long time. And I wasn't allowing myself to feel. I didn't know that feeling there was I didn't know that feeling there was the peace, the relaxation, the openness, the curiosity to seek more of it. I didn't know that was it, because I've felt that before. I felt it in certain situations, even if I was by myself at home or doing something I loved. I felt that, but I didn't know what it was. And it would always get overrid by my thoughts and what I thought and other things acting around me. And it always got disrupted by the outside. But what was shown to me inside by Mama J was you're actually in control of those creations in a way. So what you allow to come through comes through, and what you don't allow to come through comes through. And when I was allowed to reach that space again, knowing what it was, I felt like it was beautiful because it's familiar. I knew it. It was always there. Because that's one thing I see, that the principles is always there. We are them. We just don't recognize them. So when I was shown and I recognized it, it was just beautiful. It's like this, it's like reading a whole book, then hearing the name of the book at the end and say, oh, that makes sense. That was exactly that for me.
For me, if Omar was gonna say that, then I would say my love for anything before this was football, because it allowed me to be present and I could, just escape when I was playing football. And it took me a while to get into the classes with Mama J, because anytime it was on the same day as football, I would go to that, because it's made me, I didn't feel like I was in prison, because I was on the football pitch and I was out of prison. So to be in a class, once again, I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I didn't feel like, I needed to feel like I'm out of prison for just that one day a week where I don't feel like I'm in prison. I get away from my stresses. But once I actually started to listen, because I didn't feel like I was listening before. So once I actually started to listen, it goes with that feeling, just the feeling it was touching, because I didn't have to look anywhere. It was always here, it was always present. It was always in front of me. Like how Omar said, it's a key. Like, as long as you allow yourself to be curious and want to open that door. But to feel it in there, it was, I could say beautiful, because I am feeling it now, but I still get a couple of rocky patches, because it's life. But I just know how to deal with it better. I don't do things or create more havoc to the problem. I just sit with it and then let it pass by, because I would do better than I did today, if you understand what I'm saying. But it was nice. It was nice. And it was like, in a time of my life where I needed it to just, to feel that love, because I didn't feel like I felt love. It was love for the wrong reasons as well. Like, it was literally for the wrong reasons. Once again, it's that masking it. So it's like, you're being in a certain situation because you got a mask on, and it's like, is it really genuine? It's yeah. And you have to wear a mask in there certain times, but once you realize you didn't have to wear a mask and just be you, love me for me, and through me being me, someone found good in me to actually offer me work, Pete Williams. So, and that was me being present, and literally dropping off the ego, dropping off all the self procrastinating, when you're like, you're blaming everyone else apart from just like looking at yourself, really, before you can blame anyone else. Like, so to just do that and see the sun, like see the sun and let it like literally shine on your face, and just know like you're not really struggling, but when you're in your mind, it's hard, and it's like it can physically break you down, but we don't have to get caught up in our thoughts. We don't have to get caught up in our thoughts, because love is everywhere, and you will, like, once again, you will find it in the strangest places, but love is there, and it's the truth. You can't deny the truth. It's the truth. It's literally the truth.
got a little story for you. So if there was a guy in a car, right? Let's make it a lady. So that's what dramatic. If it was a lady in a car, right? Long nails, and she broke down and she didn't know how to fix the car. Hands up, who thinks she'll panic? Show of hands, anybody? I don't see any. Okay. So, rewind time. If she had motor mechanic skills and she broke down, who thinks she'll panic? And I feel like that's what it is with the three principles. Mama J was the mechanic and she taught us mechanical skills. So if the car breaks down, we can kind of look and see what's wrong. And the thing I love about that analogy is the car's still going to break down in both scenarios. The car still breaks down. But in one scenario, you don't know how to fix it, you don't know what's going on. And then the other one, you can look under the hood and see what's going on, know the problem and know what you got to do. And I feel like that's what she gave us, the mechanical skills to just look under the hood.
And to ask somebody if you don't have enough to brainstorm your way through it in a stimulating way rather than a frustrating way.
100%.
Because we do become much better brainstormers through our scenarios because they're actually invigorating.
Beautiful. Just want to check if anyone got any question to ask or something to share. Please unmute yourself or raise your hand. I could unmute you.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
I just want to, hello lads. I just want to add a different perspective to this. I actually work for Beyond Recovery and I love what the lads do. I love everything they're about. But there's another side to this for me, and that is as a facilitator going into the prison. They're my teachers. The men are my teachers. I've learned more in a room of inmates than I have on any course, any book, anything. It's taught me about love. It's taught me about my true essence. It's taught me about a bigger power. This all comes from the men. I've been in a room full of men that when they all walk in are so busy, agitated, frustrated, not knowing why they're there, angry. And over time, you see them drop out of that. They drop out of their sentence. They drop out of their upbringing. They drop out of their personality. And when we all drop, we're all exactly the same. They're the most powerful teachers. And I am really grateful to you guys.
Well, thank you, David. I love you too, pal.
Wow, this has been absolutely amazing. Does anyone got any other question or anything to ask or share?
Yes, I would like to ask a question.
Hi, Gosha.
Hi,
Sure.
hello. I've seen you guys on Facebook a lot, and I listened to Liliana Bellini, I think. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Yes. So I was wondering where you guys based. at the moment. I work with families and young people, and I'm just kind of curious, do you look for volunteers? And just wanted to hear maybe what would you say to young people who maybe are on the verge of offending or just having a really tough time, and they kind of run from home and do kind of offending behavior, antisocial behavior? What would you maybe just in general, if they having tough time, what sort of things would you tell them?
Myself personally, I feel like my heart beats for children, and I've always wanted to do youth work, and I've tried to, but I feel like only now I have the power to. And going through that experience, I would try and just point them back into themselves. I would try and show them that a lot of things that we live and think that are real are really the facades created by us. And when we don't create those facades, we flourish much greater. And I've seen it because of how I'm flourishing now. And I still live in the same place. I still see people I used to sell drugs to. Some of my friends still sell drugs. I'm in an area full of gang violence. But nothing has changed apart from my mind frame. As easy as I got out of it, and I think I can get back in easy like that, but my mind frame's different. I don't feel the same. And I know that that is more powerful than my thoughts. I know that. The feeling I have is more powerful than the thought to do something. So I would really just point them back to their self and their well-being, and I would try to just point them. There was something Derrick said, and it always hits me. And it's when you talk to certain children, they always have a mask. They always have a mask on, and it's to do with their surroundings or how they feel, how they view you talking to them or anything. And to not see that and just talk to a human being behind the mask, that it still amazes me that Derrick said that, because it's amazing. Like when you to be spoken to like a human, even when you have your mask on, that person just sees straight through that mask. That is a beautiful moment, because a lot of children has never been spoken to like that. They've always been spoken to based on what they look like, based on what their grades are, based on something, not just based on you're a human and let me speak to you because I generally want to know how you feel. And I think that's what's missing. So that's what I would try and do.
Yeah, that's great. That sounds good. Since the understanding as well, for me, I've noticed exactly what you just say. I've noticed that young people, I don't really need to do a lot, because I get them from the moment that I get them to understand where I'm coming from, and they want to work with me straight away, because they know they don't have to pretend, like what you just say. I just feel sometimes hopeless because I talk to them, and it's powerful for what they change, what they can see for themselves, but they go back to a very destructive homes, and it's a lot of violence and other different things that happen for them, and I always think, is that enough? But that's always going to be a case. So
if that sounds like you're doing good work, Gosia, but it's always going to be the case that we always think, are we doing enough, or could we will never know. All we can do is just do what you're doing brilliantly, just showing up as yourself. And you don't even have to have the same experience as them. But from you speak from that heart and you speak to them as a human being with love, then just keep that up and that will break them down. When they say love conquers everything, and love is true. You throw enough love at a situation, and it will start smelling of roses. So you just keep with that love, and the hope that you've lost, you've still got it there. When you still got that love and you show up as you, then that is hope for them. And that sometimes you might say something to them and you might not even get a response. You might think, oh, he hasn't listened to me. But you would never know if one thing you said just starts the seed growing in his brain, or just starts the strand for him to get curious. And you just know that just showing up as you is always good enough, and it's always enough. It has to be enough, because you can't do, what else can you do? Nothing more to do except up here. And up here is just going to take away your energy from what you need to be doing with them. So yeah, just keep up the good work, and sounds like you're doing good, but just be you, basically. And something else what Omar said as well, but it's tricky to negotiate. When you're in a situation like that, being told that it's simple and it's only full and it's only that, I've been in that situation. You don't really want to hear that at the time.
No.
What you just really want to hear is you just showing up and being yourself. So yeah, like what Omar said, perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe I'd like to interject something here. My daughter asked me to go into her grade 2 class to help with trouble to 3 kids she had in the classroom. She wasn't communicating with, and I said, no, I won't do that. I'll work with everybody. And then when I see them, but the first thing that I noticed, Garcia, was that the kids actually wanted to talk to me as a human being, not as a kid and an adult, not like this, but just, I was amazed that they were actually talking just like adults. We would just chit chat and talk and stuff. And while these guys are talking about this mask, which I feel everybody has, whether consciously or unconsciously, I suddenly realized what is happening is the teacher has labels on these kids, and all the teachers agreed that was the label, no doubt about it. And they all were reacting to the kid, and the kid was feeling it, this label, and they were being taught to put their mask on so that they could play according to the rules of being in school. And just doing what these beautiful guys are doing, which is just talking from their heart, but they're just being themselves. That's all they are. They're not doing anything special. They're just being themselves, but that's the secret. And the people, you allow the other people, the kids, these kids who theoretically don't have great intelligence, to share in a simple way. And we'd have conversations, and I would go, gee, nobody's listening to nobody's talking with these kids. They're all talking at them with a label. And so this mask, I think, is partly a bunch of people are labeling you, and you start putting it on, and then poof, it's, there is no mask except what you put up in your own mind.
Yeah. And it's the same
Oh.
reverse effect to what happened with Mama J. She come and she saw through the mask and shattered it and said, no, you lot are okay without the mask. And when somebody said that to me, and I saw, they didn't have to say it, I just saw the look, or I felt it. That shattered my mask. That made my mask not really fit so well as it used to fit. Not feel as comfortable as it used to feel. And just let me think, how comes that is? If I thought I need this. And that's why I said, I've always likened it to that film, you know, the film where you go through the film and you've got this little thing, and this little thing that you've got has let you do all these amazing things. And then at the end of the film, you lose the thing, and it's like, oh no, but you still managed to do what you do without the thing because you always had it and it wasn't the thing that gave you that power. That's what this is. That's what this is. I thought I needed something and I didn't really need it. At the time when I really thought I needed it, I didn't have it, and I'm still all right. So I will always be all right because I've got what I need in here. Always had it. And
That is amazing, because the labels, it's so innocent that the people put labels on everyone around them, and children just attach those labels to themselves throughout life. And I have as well. I have lots of labels that I attach, decided I am, and it's just strip it down for young people really, and just say that you have that well-being resilience within you, no matter what. Would you sometimes say it bluntly to them? So would you kind of go for it and just say, listen, you are okay?
Sometimes tough love is okay.
Mm.
Sometimes tough love is okay. And I got to get that from Jackie Moses, because when you referred the question back to them, because they have their answers themselves, we had the answers all the time and we didn't know. We was looking outside instead of looking within ourselves. So sometimes tough love's okay. It's okay. It's not, as long as it's coming from the right place, it's okay. You know, it's okay. Sometimes kids, like I would hear it and I didn't hear it. I always felt it was a bad way. It was a bad thing, but it wasn't, because it brought me to where I am today. And I didn't get that until of that tough love. It got me to understand a bit about tough love. And sometimes you get it. And that's the only way, like, your parents probably knows how to give it to you. But as long as they know it's tough love and it's coming from the right way, they can see a different way of tough love. Because the tough love they're getting at home is not the tough love you're giving them. The tough love you're giving them is only the truth. And the truth shall set you free.
Love that, Chris. I'm just about to say that all you're doing is telling them the truth, because everything will pass. So when they see that and they know it's coming from that place, then just do what is right in the moment. It's coming from that place. Mama J, you want to say something?
Is it okay if I ask a question?
Sure, of course, go ahead.
Is it Josia?
It's Gosha.
Gosha, do you see that those children have wisdom and internal? Do you love them?
Oh my gosh, I love spending time with young people. I absolutely love it. So I don't. Sometimes what stops me, I think, is just all of the bureaucracy around it and amount of time that I have, and I feel like I'm not giving them. So sometimes I go and I really believe that I can make a difference, and then I'm taken away from the young people because something else happens, and I can't be a stable person for a while to work with them, because the way the system and the service that I work for is just changing all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And sometimes there's like I'm thinking about this young lad who was almost 12, and and I remember driving with him in a car, and I told him exactly what I thought was right at that time, saying, I'm not pretending I know how you feel. I know you don't want to talk to me about your feelings. I know you don't trust anyone, but I could see on his face that mask, as you guys say, it was just dropping, it was just going away. And I could see that maybe there is a chance of building that rapport and making a difference. I was going out and playing with him in the park and with his mates and riding on a scooter and just being silly and just getting through slowly. But I didn't have time, because next thing happened was the things escalated and we had to step it up to social services. And I was kind of taken away from working with him.
I'm going to interrupt you.
And I feel like I let him down.
You don't know how much that impacted that young person. You don't know. You want to keep it simple. If you love them and you see them, you see their soul, you see their purity, you just do what you can in a minute. We've stood at people's cell door in a minute and changed their lives. You don't need time, you don't need materials, you don't need to know. You just need to show up soul to soul. If you believe in them, all you've got to do is believe in yourself. And every interaction that you have with that big, massive heart of yours, you're touching them and you're changing their lives. And you have to let go of knowing what changed. And you have to let go of time, and you have to let go of all those things and just show up as your beautiful you and make the impact that you're having. Don't let all that shit put you off. The bureaucracy, all of that, you know, we get all that in prison. Don't let that put you off. Just show up as you are. You're making a difference. These boys know it, and I know it. So just keep doing it.
Thank you.
Stop
Thank
thinking about it too much. You got it.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
And Garcia, as you go deeper and deeper into those loves, like which one is he? Omar's image of the car. You start to not ignore, they just don't, you're just looking for how you can, you intuitively, you're flowing with what you are able to do, and you have the other blocked out. In a way, it's still there, but it's blocked. You're kind of like a pinball. You flow with it, and you notice it always turns positive. Like you go through. So that too is you will experience, because as Jacqueline and the boys are talking about, you have the love, which is the most important thing. Your care. If you don't care, you're a lower evolved human being, period, in my mind. That if you care, you are guaranteed to continue to grow.
Big
Thank
H,
you.
can I
Appreciate
say
that.
something there?
Beautiful, beautiful, Harry.
Yeah, Big H, I was about to say, like, in a way, you stop, like, thinking about things that's out of your control. You know, you just let go of certain things that's out of your control, like, and just being present, just knowing that that will come or it will be, like, you just let things out of, just let it go. So that's another form of, when you were talking Big H, that's what I was getting. So I just wanted to elaborate on that.
I love that, yeah. Do you know why I love that? Because that's what came into my head as well.
Come on.
I do it a lot, and it's I feel like it's why I've dropped what I've dropped, is because even today it's like I would love to impact all you guys, but I honestly, that's not on the top of my head. The only thing that's on my head right now is how I feel, and if I feel good while I'm sharing. So that the better I feel while I'm sharing is the better I'm gonna feel, and that's it. Because if you get something from what I'm saying, that is beautiful, but I know that's out of my control, so I no longer delve there. And I see how it's so innocent, that it's like, I used to call it love and nurturing. So it's like you see somebody crying, you run over there, you ask them if they're all right, you give them tissues, you suggest this, suggest that, and that's innocent. But there was one thing Mama J said, right, where she went in prison, and I might not give the story justice, but she went in prison to speak to this guy, and he was in bits, and she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to talk to him about. She didn't know what to say. She didn't know. She was thinking, what can I do? I really want to help this guy. What can I do? And I'm not sure what happened, but she forgot about all of that. And she said, you know what? Let me just sit with him. Let me just be with him. Just human to human. Let me just be with him, and just might speak to him about horses or something. Let me just be with him. And beauty came out of that. A lot of beauty came out of that, because she didn't try to fix. She just sat with him. And there was so much beauty in that, because I realized we take on those things innocently. We want to fix, we want to help, we want to do this. Then we want to make sure you're okay. Then we want to make sure you're okay for a year, and make sure you're okay for life. But it's just like Harry was saying, it's like the mechanical skills. It's like giving someone mechanical skills. You're not gonna phone them every time and say, "Did you fix your car? Did you fix your car?" You're just gonna hope that with the skills you gave.
Thank you. It's nice to talk about this because it's reassuring me for what I believe and what I saw for myself. But again, we go off it for a bit and then we come back to it. And that's really cool stuff because but when I am with young people particularly, I don't do I do and I don't use the kind of typical tools that a lot of services use. For example, use anxiety sheet and explain how worry works, or some of the things like that work and you can kind of picture it and things like that. But it's about just saying, reassuring them that it's okay. So I've got a young person, her dad is in hospital, very, very poorly. He's been there since August. And he's got chronic pancreatitis. And he probably died probably 3 times and he survived. And she only saw him in hospital maybe about 2 or 3 times. And she responded with coping with it with anger. So she says she doesn't cry. She's not sad in her mind. She's angry. She punches things. She hit her mom a couple of times. She got angry so badly. And in school she had a fight with another friend. And she's just not talking to anyone about how she feels. So I went, and her mom's desperate for her to have a support, that she speaks to somebody. So eventually they referred to us, and school is saying she needs CAMS. So CAMS completed an assessment with her, and they said she's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. But they're not going to work with her because they seem she's not as bad. But when I spoke to her, bye Omar, thank you. She seems fine to me, and she enjoyed talking to me. And her mom told me today she likes me, which is always a good thing. And my plan is to just be with her and explore and normalize her feelings, that it's okay to feel angry, and she is in a very difficult situation. She doesn't know what's going to happen with her dad, so she's in the unknown, but she's all right now, kind of thing, and she does what she can. Obviously I'm not going to tell her that, but just be around and notice what she's saying, what she feels. So for me, that's huge. But I'm not going to go into with explaining how system works, but maybe there is an opportunity somewhere there to kind of bring up some of the things with her. I'm not really sure, because I just find out it's only early stages. I've only seen her a couple of times.
Just do the best you can. That's enough. So I just have one more quick question, guys, because I had a client, an Indigenous guy, came out of prison, and I invited him to come stay for the first week at my place. And he said something that kind of shocked me. He said, everybody who came out of prison we have a famous Maine and Hastings where all the drugs and the women and stuff are. And he said, they all headed there right away. That was exact. And I said, oh, well, that's not going to work too good, you know, and they would be back in prison quite quickly after that process type of thing. I just could you just touch lightly on that very, that subject, just for myself? That's a personal question.
What is he asking, Harry? How is it?
Well, what like, is that, first of all, is that the normal scenario that people are facing? Because you came out of prison and had very fruitful, actually, let's say perfect in many ways, the world's definition of what it is of coming out of prison and the purpose of it, I guess, you know, versus, and the way the system is, and how you see that smooth transition from hell, not hell, prison of the bars and prison of the mind, to freedom of the bars and freedom of the mind.
Big H, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy. But just letting go of things that's out of my control. Because of a fast life that I was living, it was all about money. So now I tend to, I live, well, even in prison, sometimes you don't get the money how you're meant to live, but I live okay. Like, I don't stress about things that I don't need to stress about. And it's even in hard times like how we're living in right now, but it's just being present and allow myself to not get overwhelmed or get caught up in my thoughts, get caught up in my head, or get caught up in my own thinking, and just let every day take literally one day at a time. Literally one day at a time. Ever since I've been out, it's literally one day at a time. And there has been a couple of bumpy roads where things haven't been easy, and I didn't think I would be able to last this long with this understanding, thinking that I didn't have even with a little, just by building our little support network, even just knowing that you can reach out to someone to speak to, that has helped. So, and it's hard for people that don't have it when they do come out, but to just have that, it has gone a long way. With the bumpy roads I have to deal with, but just knowing that I don't have to be what I think or what I'm thinking, that I don't literally have to be what I'm thinking. And a better state of thinking has allowed me to be present and not really get caught up on things that don't literally benefit me, and just be true to myself and just, let it literally take one day at a time for me. So my journey hasn't been as easy as it was before, but just knowing that I don't have to be where I had to before, because I can sleep nice, you know. I actually enjoy the simplicity of life now. Like, I literally just enjoy being present with my nieces. That I don't get caught up in that hype no more. Like, don't get wrong, I just like going out, but it's not the norm for me no more. I don't find it fun no more. So I'm finding my fun factor back, because sometimes, well, for me, I lost having fun. So I'm finding my fun factor back, and the simplicity of life, I'm finding it fun again. So yeah, finding my fun factor back.
Yeah, that was lovely, Chris, man. For me, it was a bit like he said, it's not easy. When I came, there was a lot of stress before I come out as to what I'm going to do, and if I can be strong enough to maintain this thing that I've seen, and am I really this person that can do this? And I had so many doubts, but the little glimpse that I saw was enough. The feeling that I had was enough to keep me strong. Because it's funny I should mention that, Harry, because upon coming out, I had to make a decision. I'm 49 or 48 when I got released, and I'd basically been a criminal most of my life. So all of my friends are involved in criminal activity. So I had to make the choice as to not to go back around those friends. And since I've come out, I've not been around any of the friends what I used to. That's basically my whole friend network just dropped just like that. And I used to say this to Mama J, I thought it was like a weakness that I've just scuttled off into the distance, but now I sort of see it as a strength. That's my wisdom. Because I know that if I went around the same people with this same thinking, I wouldn't end up influencing them. They'd end up influencing me. And I'll say, yeah, I'm doing this on the side, but I still got the principles and it would have, I sort of see it as my wisdom telling me to stay with people that love me, my family, and be around them and be around the beyond family. And together I will grow and stay. But now I'm strong and I can see my strengths, where their strengths and my weaknesses for them being weaknesses. But just coming out and living in the moment, it wasn't easy, but I can't say I've made it, but I'm on the path and I'm enjoying every day. Just having you and Omar invite us onto this call here, just to share, it's just been an amazing experience. And listening to you as well, Harry, and everybody else, it's been brilliant. Loved it. Loved it.
Well, it's our pleasure, Derrick. It's been amazing. Thank you guys for sharing from your house. I've been doing, listening today because it's been absolutely amazing what you shared with us guys here. So yeah, I think we reached the end of this call. So I just want to thank you guys for accepting the invitation to come on this amazing Zoom call and share with us your experience and insights. Been really touched, as I always did when I listened to you guys, and I still remember, I told you this, Derrick, your seminar in the 3P conference this year was the best. I've watched most of them, and yours was the best by far. Like, it was absolutely amazing. The freshness of your experience and what you shared, something that we don't hear often in the community. So like sharing from your own experience is what actually impacts people, and it impacted me. So yeah, thank you, Derrick. Thank you, Omar. He left. It's okay. Thank you, Chris, and Harry. Thank you as well for sharing your wisdom, and it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for attending this Zoom, all our participants, Gosha, for your question, and all the others. And thank you for Jacqueline for coming and joining us. So yeah, have a good one, everyone.
All right, thank you guys. Love.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you very much. Thank you, Omar. Thank you.